to another episode of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of incredible entrepreneurs. RK Springfield.
That's right.
And, you know, when I first talked to you on the phone, I'm like, you know, you sound like Rick Springfield. And I started singing.
It was kismet when we talked on the phone. It was like we were old friends.
It was like we were old friends, man.
Yeah. It's funny. He was in town actually the day before, or something like that. So yeah, but his real last name is Spring Thornton.
Oh.
And mine's Springfield. I'm the original.
You're the original.
Yeah.
RK. And right. You are with TSI.
TSI Experience, that's right.
TSI, what is TSI Experience?
So we're a training company. We actually have two different functions. Yeah. One is HR training, so we do leadership functions. Like this year, the big one is strategic thinking and multi-generational training. And then we also have the personal life coaching and helping people sort of figure out what they want to do. A lot of people are transitioning from the typical corporate America to a different, more entrepreneurial lifestyle.
That is a hard transition.
Oh, yes.
And we've interviewed hundreds of entrepreneurs that, in fact, have been in corporate America for a number of years, and then the transition to the unknown.
Yes.
To entrepreneurship. It's a hard transition.
It is, but you know, the thing is, because of the first track, it's really hard for corporations to figure out what to do about that transition, because a lot of people are sort of leaving because of the way that a lot of companies are set up. They're not set up for people to be entrepreneurial inside of the company, which is to build your business, build your brand within the company that you currently work for.
Is that though perhaps a trend that we're seeing more on companies? Internally, we're seeing a lot more emphasis in promoting entrepreneurship within the ranks.
Yes, and hopefully that's something that's going to continue, because right now you have to think we have 4 generations in the American workforce. It's never happened before, and so we're seeing a lot of friction with people. You know, there are a lot of baby boomers who have short-timer syndrome. You know, I'm going to be retiring and I don't care what you do. But the thing is, they've made a lot of inroads over the 20 or 30 years that they've been working for a company that they take with them. And so when they leave, the companies suddenly, they have these legacy gaps that the millennials, we don't know the workaround. Nobody ever told us.
Why is there such a big disconnect between millennials and, say, people that are more contemporaneous to our age?
I think the biggest difference is millennials were raised by baby boomers. They're their youngest children, and so they were born, a lot of them were late stage babies. So they were born when their parents were pretty set, and so the expectations are different. But they're also the first generation that had instant access to almost any information they wanted. The very first time this has happened ever in history. So they think differently than everyone else, and yet companies are still trying to do a lot of things. I just spoke for a real estate group, and they were having a hard time marketing to millennials, and I said, well, they don't want a 30-year mortgage, so that's how you market it to their parents.
Correct.
They want something different, so you have to change. And companies are experiencing the same thing. Millennials grew up watching Enron, watching companies go, well, your pension no longer exists, so they don't have the same loyalty that their parents had towards the company. So that's where the gap is.
Gotcha. So there's what you're saying is that there's this built-in distrust because of what they've seen from their parents.
Yes.
And indeed, the access to information validates that distrust, because the parents can no longer hide what happened to that particular company or what happened over here, or hide the news from them, because, all right, don't tell me the bad news. I'm just going to go to my room, Google it, and there it's done.
We call it Uncle Google. I don't ask Mom and Dad, I ask Uncle Google. Yeah. Uncle Google knows everything, whether it's correct or not.
You have an interesting background.
Yes.
You worked for Jenny Jones, and you worked for Jerry Springer.
Yeah, I worked for the talk shows is where I started. And that was me. I love that. And I'm the shyest person you will ever meet, and I was the person, I thought of myself as a professional instigator. I was the one in the background. If you watch old shows, you'll see me for like 5 minutes if it's, I'm around a group of people who are kind of not really exciting, and then we go to commercial and I'm gone, and those people are really mad. I did that. That was me.
You're the professional
instigator. Yeah, that's what I did.
From that to where you are now.
Yes.
To be a professional speaker, to have, to be in a leadership role, and to coach people, to speak in front of people.
Yes.
That takes nerve. That takes character. That takes a huge leap. I mean, in a sense, you're instigating, but you're instigating for a different purpose, and you're instigating a different group of people.
That's exactly. You know what? It's the same group of people. It's people who are doing something and want to do something different. And that's where I was. Now, that was the leap for me. I was working for companies, and this is kind of funny, but every company I've ever worked for showed an increase, and whenever I left, none of those companies are still in business.
Wow.
Which is really, I think it's kind of that leap. So I was looking for a way to do what I loved, which is I want to help people like most people. I don't think anyone wakes up and goes, I'm going to choose money over people. And yet that's what people at the end of the day wind up doing a lot. And so what we do is come into companies and go, let us show you how to choose people over money, and you will make more money as a result. But choose your people instead. So as I was working for these companies, I worked for my low point, and everyone, I think every entrepreneur has some moment of clarity where they can go, that's the moment when I said enough. I was working for a company, I won't say which one, and I was invisible in meetings. I was the only person of color, and I was the only person of color in this position to ever get this position, and I was invisible. And I could literally say to someone across the board table, say this, and they had to say it for me. And this isn't, 1970s, I'm not that old, this is in the 80s or 90s, this is 2000s.
Wow.
And I said this, and I dealt with it for about a year, and it just got progressively worse, and I said, you know what? I can do better. Because at the same time, I was the person rallying for the employees. I was trying to create an employee recognition program. And so it took 9 months out of that year to do it, simply because I had to work through other people, and they gave someone else an award for it.
It is interesting because we talk a lot about the glass ceiling, right, and how to break that glass ceiling, but we don't talk a lot about the color curtain.
Yes, yeah.
And it's big, it's there. It seeps through our society.
Yes,
still.
And ignoring, it's great that we're finally starting to have these conversations. I wish they were taking place under different circumstances, but like W.B. Du Bois said, people traveling along the same path, there's no friction, there's no growth. You have to have people intersecting. That's what this was. So I'm in this situation where I'm a different color and different. It was really, I think, more than the color. I think it was the way that I think. And that's what the other people on my level said, you just think differently, you're a holistic thinker. And I said, yeah, but it seems so simple to me. And that's how the business started.
And that was your moment of clarity, as you
Yes.
said, where you said, you know what, forget it. I'm going to go and do this.
Yeah, instead of just trying to do it for myself, I needed to help other people because that's where I shine. Thinking holistically and taking a 20,000 foot view, we can do this for a lot more people.
Who's your market? Who's your client?
That's the thing. I've traveled all over the world doing this, and I've trained for the Department of Defense, for you name it, pretty much. I've trained for ice cream companies. I mean, everyone. Blockbuster was one of my clients. And
I miss Blockbuster, by the way.
Yeah.
I really did.
You know what?
It's just the experience of going there and renting a video and coming home.
I'll tell you a workaround now. I got a workaround. But our clients we don't have a specific niche. It's just people who want to choose their employees. So our motto is, give us a good manager, and we will give you back a great leader. So most people, when you become a manager, what happens is they go, hey, you've been here a while, and congratulations, you're a manager. And now I need you to make sure you get this piece of paper into me on Thursdays by 2 o'clock, and then they walk away. And they forget to tell you that no matter what their business is, it's people. And no one gets in school, we don't get communication. We don't learn how to deal with people, how to interact with people.
That's very true.
So we come in and we go, okay, here's the problem. Here's a quick solution. We're going to just state your problem real quickly. You're probably trying to manage your employees. Do you have kids?
Yes, I do.
All right, have you tried to manage your kids?
I gave up a long time.
Exactly. And yet people get up every day, walk into work, and they try to manage their employees. It doesn't make sense. You manage paper, but you have to lead your people.
Right.
And so we teach you how to lead your people.
That's what's cool about it.
Yeah.
That's really what's cool about it. And then you have this different system that you use to accomplish that.
Experiential training. And everyone, and you're going to be hearing a lot more, like Keller's doing it now. There are a lot of companies that are doing it. We've been doing it forever.
Can anybody learn to be a leader? Or are you born a leader?
No. Now, so one of the things that we talk about is that started telling people, and I don't know how this got into our pop culture, that leadership is this mysterious thing that, it's behind the curtain, you have to look for. No, you can learn to be a leader, but you have to work for it. Any relationship, and if you're a company, whatever your culture is, you have a relationship between yourself and the employees. You have to work for that relationship.
Right.
If you want to be a leader, you have to work for leadership. That's how it works. Anyone can be a leader if they work for it.
Best advice you ever got?
Best advice I ever got, no matter who you lie to, never lie to yourself. My favorite advice.
I love it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
R.K. Springfield, and I'm not going to sing any of the
No, I told you, I know all of his songs, so I told you I'll sing right along with you. Every one of his songs, literally, I know. So don't get me started. Oh, by the way, so we packed that for you, and that's for you.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we are going to have you back because I really love this aspect of leadership and leading versus managing. There's a very distinct difference.
Yes, and doing it experientially is pretty important too. Experiential training is not just sitting down, it's not just me lecturing and talking. For one class we just had 6 months ago, I had to get water guns because they were legacy employees and they just needed to shoot each other with water. And that was the only way we could learn. I was like, we can't get beyond this and I had a super soaker because that's how it works.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah! You had the big guns there, bro. But it's a good thing that you didn't have pillows filled with bricks because that would have been a little bit.
Well, that's what they do anyway with their words. So we just had to get rid of it. Yeah.
Good man.
Thank you.
With that, we're out.